2 years have passed since Gretchen Fleming went missing. At the time of her disappearance, she was 27 years old. In this video, we will tell you what really happened. On December 24, 1994, Gretchen Fleming was born in Warrenton, Virginia. From early childhood, she experienced the divorce of her parents, which, as often happens, shaped her life. After the separation, her mother remained in Virginia, while Gretchen and her sister moved with their father David to Parkersburg, West Virginia. This town became her new home. When she was about 14, her father met a woman named Jennifer, who became her stepmother. Jennifer already had twins, and soon after, she and David had a child together. The family seemed to be growing, but tensions and struggles were inevitable. After graduating from high school in Parkersburg, Gretchen found herself at a crossroads. Being very active, she was unsure of what to do next. Moving to North Carolina was a step toward finding herself. There, she enrolled in a university to study political science while working multiple jobs. Soon, her life took another turn. She met a man and moved to Charleston, South Carolina. She lived there for about a year before the relationship ended. The breakup was a heavy blow for Gretchen. Her family recalls that after the separation, she seemed deeply saddened. This difficult period was made even worse by a tragic loss. Her mother passed away. These events seemed to take a toll on her emotional well-being. Gretchen returned to West Virginia, moving in with her grandparents in Vienna, near Parkersburg. However, just as her life seemed to be getting back on track, she vanished. Her disappearance caught the attention not only of the local community, but of the entire country. The further the investigation went, the more unanswered questions arose. Where did Gretchen Fleming go? And what led her to that fateful moment? On December 11, 2022, Louise, the grandmother of 27-year-old Gretchen, worried about not hearing from her granddaughter, went to visit her parents, Jennifer and David. Louise revealed that she had not seen or heard from Gretchen since December 3rd. The last time she saw her granddaughter was during the day on December 3rd when she gave her a ride to work. At that time, Gretchen mentioned that she wouldn't be coming home that night because she planned to spend the evening with friends after her shift. At first, her grandmother didn't think much of it. Gretchen often stayed over at friends' houses, easily moving from place to place. It wasn't unusual for her to be gone for a couple of days. But as a week passed with no calls or messages, Louise grew increasingly worried. Her concern deepened when she learned that David and Jennifer also had no contact with their daughter. Gretchen's parents decided to take action. They got in their car and started driving around Parkersburg, checking local bars in hopes of finding someone who had seen their daughter on the night of December 3rd. Their search led them to the sports bar Front Row. There, they met a bartender who remembered Gretchen. Moreover, she mentioned that one of Gretchen's friends had left her purse with the bar's manager. The contents of the purse shocked her parents. Her phone, bank cards, ID, and tablet were all inside. This raised a critical question. Why would Gretchen leave behind such important belongings? The bartender also mentioned that on that night, Gretchen had left the bar with a man. The next day, on December 12, 2022, her parents filed a missing person report with the Parkersburg police. The Parkersburg police wasted no time. Immediately after Gretchen's disappearance was reported, they launched an active investigation. Their first steps were to check local hospitals and shelters to see if she had been admitted. They also searched their internal databases to determine whether Gretchen had had any recent contact with law enforcement. To expand the search, the police shared details of the case on social media, which quickly yielded results. A man named John reached out, claiming that he had been with Gretchen that night. According to him, Their night started at the Front Row Bar. Later, he suggested they go to My Way Lounge. They spent some time there together, but at some point, he lost sight of her. He searched for her throughout the venue but couldn't find her, so he stepped outside to check the surrounding downtown area. When his search proved unsuccessful, he returned to the bar, but she was nowhere to be found. Eventually, he decided to go home, assuming that Gretchen would return for her purse, which she had left in his car. The next morning, John went back to Front Row, still expecting Gretchen to retrieve her belongings. Since this was one of her favorite places, he assumed she might show up. When she didn't, he left her purse with the bar's manager. Investigators noted how concerned John seemed about Gretchen's well-being. He appeared to feel guilty, believing that something tragic might have happened because he had suggested they go to My Way Lounge. After multiple rounds of questioning and considering his full cooperation, neither the investigators nor Gretchen's family regarded him as a suspect in her disappearance. On December 13, 2022, the owners of My Way Lounge contacted Gretchen's father, David, and the police to inform them that they had surveillance footage from that night. The footage showed Gretchen sitting alone at the far end of the bar while John was seated separately, talking to other people. At one point, a blonde-haired man emerged from the karaoke room. He approached Gretchen, and the two of them entered the karaoke room together, where they remained for about 30 minutes. By that time, Gretchen was visibly intoxicated. The owners of My Way Lounge identified the man who left with Gretchen as Preston Pierce. As it turned out, his story was far more complicated than it initially seemed. Preston Pierce, 55, was a former law enforcement officer with a 12-year career. Over the years, he had worked for several police departments in West Virginia, with his last position being in the Barber County Department. After leaving the force, he took a job as a food delivery driver. Once the bar owners provided police with the surveillance footage, the investigation reached a new level. The police called Pierce in for questioning the next day. He admitted that he had spoken with Gretchen and had offered her a ride. According to him, he dropped her off in downtown Parkersburg. However, there were inconsistencies in his story. With this new information, the police began reviewing additional surveillance footage from the area to piece together her movements on the night of December 4th. Here's what they found. At 3:10 a.m., Pierce and Gretchen left My Way Lounge and walked toward his vehicle. The cameras didn't capture them getting into the car, as the parking lot was a blind spot. A black Nissan Rogue, presumed to be Pierce's, was seen leaving the lot through an alley and heading toward 6th Street. The same SUV was later spotted on Ann Street, which, notably, led to Pierce's home on Division Street. What was particularly alarming was that none of the surveillance footage confirmed Pierce's claim that he had dropped Gretchen off in downtown Parkersburg. It's worth noting that at the beginning of the investigation, the police did not disclose Preston Pierce's identity, referring to him only as a person of interest. However, his name was soon revealed by the media. Shortly after, several women came forward to law enforcement, alleging that Pierce had stalked and harassed them after obtaining their phone numbers through his job as a food delivery driver. In January 2023, false reports emerged in the media claiming that Gretchen's body might have been found in a river near the last location where she was seen. Fortunately, this turned out to be a dead end. That same month, the police received an anonymous tip stating that Gretchen's remains could be found in a well in Ravenswood, West Virginia, just a 40-minute drive from Parkersburg. Authorities quickly organized a search operation, pumping water from the well and thoroughly inspecting it. However, despite their efforts, no trace of Gretchen was found. In February 2023, a large-scale public search was conducted in Mountwood Park, located about 30 minutes from the last place Gretchen was seen. Many volunteers joined law enforcement in combing the area, but as before, the search yielded no results. Another search took place in March of that year, with volunteers and police focusing on Johnson T. Janes Park in Parkersburg, yet once again, nothing was found. May 2023 brought further developments. Investigators announced that they had conducted additional searches, 3 of which had already been linked to Preston Pierce. This indicated that the case was still active, but answers remained elusive. As it later became known, Preston Pierce had ceased all communication with the police. His silence only deepened the mystery and left more questions unanswered. If you have any information on the disappearance of Gretchen Fleming, please call the Parkersburg Police Department at 304-424-8444. And that concludes our coverage of this tragic story. If you found this video informative or thought-provoking, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more updates on cases like these. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Feel free to share this video with your friends and give it a thumbs up if you found it valuable. Thank you for watching.